SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
I welcome all of you to this lecture and let us have a thought process before starting this lecture, and we should keep in mind that agriculture is the only primary wealth of humankind. It is not only for India alone, okay? That spins other forms of secondary wealth, but unfortunately in the name of modernity people are not giving importance to agriculture today. But that is the primary wealth and which nature gives us, Mother Nature gives us. So we should concentrate on that, and I must tell you that if you want to be rishi, that means sage, you will have to do krishi. ऋषि बनने के लिए कृषि करना जरूरी है. That means if you want to be a good human being, you will have to get attached to the agriculture, farming, gardening, all those things is important, so that you can understand the Mother Nature. That is why our ancestors were giving importance to the agriculture. And question arises, as I told, the soil is important, and then a question arises, what do you mean by soil? Soil is basically mixture of small rock particles, debris and organic materials, like which we call humus, right, and which develops on the earth surface and support the growth of plant. As I told earlier, this humus comes from the microorganism, and this microorganism will be working all the time for their life, and those things they will be died, and then they will be having lot of minerals, other things will be coming from their bodies, and then that will be helpful for our thing. In the name of modernity and scientific understanding, modern, I am criticizing that. So we have started using fertilizers and which are and also pesticide, insect, that is spoiling the humus. Microorganism working for us, why should we use those things? There is no need, and but only thing that rather to support them. And that is the reason also why you should not till depth wise, more depth wise, by using the tractors, using the brutal force, rather they use the plough, and then of course that the angle of the ploughshare is very important. And what are the kinds of Indian soils you are aware? If you look at, any idea? There you must have studied, and I had also told you in the earlier lecture. Let me repeat again. One is alluvial soils, but question is how I will identify alluvial soils. Alluvial soils is basically comes from the river bed, it will be occurring in the river bed, it is carried by the river itself, and then some of the humus and other things will be carried with that, and it will be coming. And from the color you can know, and it will be color will be yellow. I will show you some picture little later on. The black soil is basically arises from the volcanoes, and then your other material which will be coming during the volcanoes, and it will be containing manganese and other things, but unfortunately it will be containing less organic matter, but alluvial soil will be containing lot of organic material which is required for the cultivation. Like, and this alluvial soil will get in Gangetic plains, the river beds nearby. I will show you that where we are getting in it. And red and yellow soils, which is basically laterite, sediments of the laterites stones which are there in Tamil Nadu and other Deccan areas, and then in Odisha and then Bihar some portion. And laterite soil is another one where iron, it will be containing more iron and the aluminum, right. And arid soils, which is be in the desert area, you will be getting from the containing sand, and also it will be containing less amount of organic matter. And forest mountain soils always will be containing lot of organic materials and also some portion of minerals kind of things. If you look at this is the forest and mountain soil what you will be getting in Kashmir and then Himachal Pradesh and some portion in the north is this region, right. And these are roughly you may get in some other places as well this one, but roughly we are saying, and this is your alluvial Gangetic plains, these are your some portion of here and other thing, this portion also, these portions are alluvial soil. And the red and yellow, this region is yellow it became when the iron will be less, so that is the what we will having, right. And this region and then like even some portion of Madhya Pradesh, some portion of Odisha, Andhra also some portion, and of course the Tamil Nadu and some portion here in this region. And black soil you will get in Deccan Plateau, even in Tamil Nadu, this middle portion, this portion is black kind of things. This will be black soil. And of course, the laterite you will get here, very small portion where the mountains will be there of laterite stones, and then those are the places. Of course, I have also told you that in these regions, right, you will get these portions. And arid soils you will get here in Rajasthan areas and some portion in the coastal side also you will get arid regions also, right. Now, from the color you can get, and this is basically which soil it would be, it will be alluvial soil, right. And the black soil of course is from color you can see, right, it is a black soil, and do not think that soil will be that black, but like in some places it will be a little whitish, I mean like less black rather, I can't say. This is the soil with the red and yellow soils which will be getting in this region, this region red and yellow you will get only when the iron content will be less, right, in the soil. And these are laterite soils, right. Laterite is a stone what is being used being the less compressed stone you can say, and and this is about basically arid soils, right, and this is your forest or mountain soil. So, from this color and combination you can see this is of course the modern way of classifying the soil. But let us see now how our ancestors were classifying the soil, whether they were having any understanding or not, right. So, before that let us look at the farmland which is also known as Kshetra in Sanskrit or in Vedic culture, right. It can be divided into three categories. Urbara means fertile from the farming point of view, Anurbara means barren land, right. Other is Krishya means arable land, right, which you can use for purposes, but however agriculture we will have to give irrigation, you will have to use irrigation, you have to give water. Nature of soil, if you look at that is the Sarkara means basically salty, and Sikta it will be sandy, and Asman means basically stony, there will be lot of stones kind will be there, that is. And of course, there are several text or the scriptures are there, one of them is Amarkosa, and which talks about different kinds of land like we call it Bhumi, that is a soil, Mrishna that is basically Mrishna means basically or Maru is a region of devoid of water, right, and Usa means salt ground, right, of course and Usara is spot with lime, lime soil will be there, so that is known as that means salt and lime are different things, Usa, Ushara. And Maru actually as I told is the region of devoid water, and Mrishna is the excellent soil, that is the Mrishna soil is an excellent one, right. And Khila are the also known as Apartha is wasteland, that means which cannot be really used for cultivation, and Nadabam Kumudabhan and Sadabla, like that means like these are the lands which is having different purposes, like reeds, water lilies, ratnas, green grass, grassland kind of thing you can say, right, will be there. And Panakila, that is a muddy soil. If the soil is muddy and the water is there and they become mud kind of things and very fine soil structure, then called Panakila. Anupa means land adjoining to water is known as Anupa, right. And Sarkadila, Sarkadila means stony soils, and Siktila, sandy soils, of course very Sikta to Siktila, right, is adjective basically. Some of these words can be found in Vedic literature also, but I have taken some of the word different, defining different kinds of land. That word if you look at, they are having a varieties kind of thing, we will see as we go on. And in ancient India, land were generally classified in three categories: Jangala, I mean where you will be having dry or arid land where you won't use for cultivation, you keep as it is, right, for kind of things, vegetation. There is Anupa, wetland, where a lot of water and other things will be there, which will be also won't be using for cultivation. Sadhana, moderate moisture on the basis of moisture content, and this categories is basically based on the what? Moisture content, because moisture is very important for the cultivation, right. And that is thing which is they had identified, whereas we are saying the water is important. No, what moisture in the soil is important for cultivation, that is the understanding they were having, and modern is water. So, that is not really that right thing, but one has to look at it. We will have to look at whether it is right or wrong. But I think in I had a discussion some agriculture, they are saying that is the right, that moisture content in the soil is important rather than the water. And there is also book you can read, The Straw of Revolution, that is known by the Fukuoka, and in which he says that you need not to give that much of water for the rice, which is well known. I mean and that is you do not need, you can cultivate the rice with a very less amount of water. I mean of course one has to look at the arguments, and he has proven it in his by cultivation. And further classification according to the Susu Samhita based on their odor, color and taste. If you look at, they are classifying in three ways. One is according to the color, right, which we had seen just now, based on that color, like we have alluvial soil and then red and yellow soil, black soil is basically from the color you can get, but they are classifying 6, that is Astita, black, and Bipandu, there is a pallid or the dull, basically this is a lateritic profile, laterite means laterite stone and that profile, right, that color. And Samala, dark blue, this I do not know where they got this thing, and I have not seen also this dark blue color soil, okay, but they are saying, I do not know. Lohita, of course it is there, and Sita is white, white means maybe this is little bit less yellow, Pita is yellow, and Sita is there saying white in English, but according to me it will be less yellow color, or the kind of thing that may you call Sita. So, if you look at all are matching except this Samla, that dark blue, maybe I am not an expert in this soil, so maybe it will be there, I do not know, you can look at it. So, 6 types of soil according to taste. Now, their taste also people are we are talking about, like we really think about in modern time. Of course, we are having a lot of instrument to check the soil quality or the thing. So, therefore, we may not use, but they were having their own taste, and then they can test the soil and then say which is what. Madhura, that is the sweet, Amla, the sour, and Lavana is the saline, right, and Tikta is pungent smell, and Katuka is acrid kind of things, and Kasa is astringent, right. This is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of soil test they can do. You can, depending on that you can change your. And there is another ancient scriptures, Vriksha Ayurveda has separate section on Bhumi Nirupana. Bhumi Nirupana means identifying a land, for describing all kind of classification of soil, so that you can put the crop depending on the kind of land you are having. It is not that you will just do whatever you like, that the way we are doing, even if it is not that area is for the rice, but we are cultivating rice there, because of these things. So, that is not, one should not do that, one should have a knowledge about the soil. That is the important point what I am trying to tell, which was there in ancient time as well. The soil with poisonous matter, stones, anthills, saline, and then gravelly or deep underground waters are not favorable for trees. Of course, for plantation you can do, because in the trees the roots will be getting into deep into the thing. So, therefore, these are the things which, of course, the poison matter is there, means you should not really even have a crop. The sadar or moderate soil is appropriate for all kind of trees, that is, but in today's parlance, sadhana means, like you will say general, so in is useless, you will say, but in otherwise this is the sadhana means it will be used for everywhere. And Baraha Mihara, who has written a book on that, like this, regard the soft or mridi, right, to be good for all kind of trees, emphasize the need for preparation of soil before sowing the seed. That he has Sanhita, he has talked about it. That first preparation of the land is to sow the sesame, like there is another way of improving the soil quality. He is saying first you sow a sesame in the soil, and when they grow, have put forth the flowers, right, sesame, this thing, and they are uprooted. That is according to Brihas Samhita. Brihas Samhita is basically I think written by Baraha Mihara, Brihas Samhita, and so he says that. And what is this sesamum? Any idea? That is what we call in Hindi til, right? I will be showing some pictures for that in the next slide. And there is a Briksha Ayurveda. In that, the big trees, or they have also classified the trees. Big trees mean Banaspati, trees means Druma, Lata, creepers, thickest Gulma, and mention 3 ways of planting them by seeds. See how you can have a plant, because you can use the seeds, you can use also the skin of a plant or the kanda, right. Basically, if you look at in modern times, we are calling it a tissue culture, okay. That was there also that time. You might be aware the tissue culture, like you will take some scalp it out and then put some chemicals and then put this thing and then wrap it with a cotton and other things, so that you will get a tree, get a plant out of this thing. So, that is basically modern time tissue culture we call. And bulbous roots are the kanda, like your ginger if you take, right, or some other things you can use for the its propagation. And Baraha Mihara mentioned the certain trees like Asoka, rose apple, plantain, pomegranate or Draksha extra grows from the skin, not from the seeds. That means these trees, they were knowing that which will to be grown from, which way was to be grown, that is being, they were knowing, and they have mentioned these things. And sowing them in a proper manner, of course modern people like us, we do not know those things, and it is very important for us to know that. And the skins are plastered with the mud, right, and mud, and then some people use also gobar. I had seen when I was a kid, I had gone to some village, they were using gobar and paste. Gobar means in the cow dung and the mud, they will be putting it and then using it. And there is a various other what you call ingredients they do add depending upon the locality. So, Milindepano, that is basically Buddhist text. It is a, if you recall, that is a dialogue between a king and a Buddhist monk, and implies the knowledge about seed has 2 main parts. It says selection of good seeds, that is very important. Which is good or bad, a person should have a knowledge how to decide, and sowing them in a proper manner, right, that is also very important what he has emphasized. And keep in mind that what he has told, that all seed do not germinate due to inherent defects, and each seed has to be separated if it is having defects. Now, how to identify other things, this requires some experience, right. You will have to, by the observation, maybe you will have to put in a water, and then you will have to see whether it is floating. If it is floating, this is not good qualities, like there is several ways of doing that. Now, those things of course one has to learn and then record it also. I mean, it might be record in the earlier scriptures, but I know that some people were having those knowledge when I was a kid in village particularly, but today that knowledge has gone with the wind of the time, like that knowledge are not there, and if it is not being coded or recorded properly, then we lost that knowledge. And those are knowledge were there with a lot of people. Today, it may be there lying in some book. So it is important to the knowledge with the people than that of in some book or some person, some specified persons. The parched grains as the seeds are unfit to germinate as per the Mahabharata. You know what is this parched grain? Any idea? That means grain which will be boiling it and again dry it, that is basically parched grain, right. And Arthashastra, which was written by Kautilya, the Chanakya, which is a very important scriptures and which is left with the plunder of the invaders, left intact. So, that is a good thing, that mentions the collection of seed in appropriate time, that time is important, right. Yatha kalam, that means like kalam means is basically time. As the first duty of the superintendent of agriculture, there was at that time superintendent of agriculture who will be see that it is being done, and his job was to educate the people as well, right, who should collect all kinds of grains, flowers, roots, creeper fruits, flax and cottons, and also keep as a seed bank. Today, where is the seed bank? Each village were having earlier days, but today we will be buying the seeds from the companies which is from outside, and they will be taking a lot of money from the pockets of the farmer. That is why farmer is committing suicide, because everything is costly, everything he has to buy, he is not independent, he is dependent on the market. And also the most, if you look at most of the seed companies are from outside today, and they are having monopoly over that, and we do not have our own seeds, that is the sad part of it. Our repository should be there, and it should be also be with the people as well, not only with the government alone. To increase the fertility of seeds, they are also treated before sowing, right. Their method, this has to be also tested. I will be talking about that, but I feel that people might not have tested those things in modern time. So, according to the Krishi Parasa, seeds are not to be kept on an ant hills, right, or the cow shed or a delivery room. You might be knowing, for delivering baby earlier days, we are having a separate room. It is not that you will take delivery in a room which is a living, or deliver a baby in some hospital earlier days, okay, it was separately, and that is very important. I will not talk about it, why it is important, that tradition. The tradition is very important according to me. I have tried to interpret it little bit, and why it is so. This question, this seeds are not to be kept on this, but why, we need to understand. It is not that they have written we will follow it, no, right. So, therefore, one has to look at it, because there will be a lot of bacteria, other things here which will be affecting, therefore, they might have done this, but more studies is required to prove that that is right. And unfortunately, we are just saying it is not outdated, but we should to understand with the modern science also. The seeds should not contact with the remnant foods, women with the menses, lamp, fire, smoke and rain, right. So, with these there is a restriction, they should be kept out. So, these must not be stored in a pit or underground, right, you should not store that. But why you will not store? There is a various reason one can think of it. If you go to underground, the moisture content will be different, and maybe it will be not enough air, and then these things, and there might be some fungus development, temperature may be low, right. So, all those things has to be there, one has to look at, understand it. As to the other, seeds of grain are to be soaked in dew and dried in the heat for 7 days. right? Why? Of course, it is why they are using dew. Dew, you know, like in the particularly in the night time, there will be a dew which will be there in the leaves that has to be collected. What will condense, you know, and those water has to be used. Why? Why not simple water? Because those will be what you call already evaporated and condensed back. So it is pure or quality will be improved. So that they were knowing this required. And dried in the heat, of course, it is not the heat, rather I will say they do not do the dry in the sun directly, but they will be using the heat from the sun. Generally nowadays you will find on the road or on some people, villagers are drying the what you call grains on the sunshine, on the direct sun. But that was not the earlier days, because people are not having that knowledge that you should not dry that. Therefore, we are having attic systems where the on the floor, you know, of the house there will be a place where on the top of the floor, and then you will dry there with the shade, right. In the shade you will be drying. So, those pulses for 3 days and nights, okay. This is what I am saying, seed of grains is for the 7 days, whereas seed of pulses for 3 days and night. Why? These questions have to be looked at it, you know. So, with this I will stop over, and we will discuss about also how to take care of various seeds and sowing methods in the next lecture. Thank you very much.